Hockeytown, it's a place where dreams are found. We fought so many battles here. Now we're the ones that they will fear. The cup resides within our town. We won't stop no letting down. The cup is ours for all to drink. It's our time, let's rock this ring.
Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Hockeytown Rundown. You're here with us. One of your beautiful hosts, Zack, and a lovely, beautiful host, Nick from Hockeytown West Podcast. Give it up for Nick, everyone. Welcome back. How you doing?
Good
buddy?
afternoon. I'm good. We started the day with some free donuts from a local donut shop, so that was a pretty good start. And then you texted me, so here we are.
That's sick. That's sick. Nick, why don't you go ahead and just lay the groundwork real quick for the viewers and the listeners who may not know who you are currently and what you do.
As a person or as a content creator?
Lay down the groundwork. Yeah.
I'm kidding. So I am part of Hockeytown West with Brandon Cook and Travis. I'm going to murder his last name, Focht. And we do Grand Rapids Griffins, and we also cover the Toledo Walleye. This summer has been pretty crazy. We've been doing interviews with current players, head coaches. So we had Dan Watson on a couple weeks ago. We had Pat Mickish on a few weeks before that or after that. And then we've had some of the Toledo Storm players. So some of these guys played in the NHL, like Ian Duncan. We had Mark, they call him the Diesel. And we've got a couple more lined up here soon. We got a really cool interview coming up in the next few days. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, we've been doing it for about a year and a half. And it's been fun. It's been interesting. So, but my first true love was the Red Wings. So I'm excited to be on this one with you guys again. So thanks for having me, Zach.
Hey, thanks for hopping on so late. Yeah, I had to got put in a tizzy with some of the other hosts. So I asked Nick to hop on real quick, and thanks for hopping on so quickly. That's very much appreciated, Nick. And yeah, we will be putting their links down in the description of this episode so you guys can go ahead and check out their work. Amazing work, a lot of great interviews and just overall great analysis of the Grand Rapids Griffins, Toledo Walleye, and then obviously some Red Wings coverage too along the way in there. So Nick, based on the title of this episode and then what we have at the bottom here, we will be doing an episode based on what we think are the top 10 prospects in the Detroit Red Wings prospect pool. I'm basing my list off of who I believe will have the most value to this team down the road, not currently right now. Nick, I'm not sure if you're going to go exactly the same route, but it does sound like that you are doing something similar, correct?
So I used your list and I inverted them. So it's completely opposite. No, my list is based off the most important person to team need, I guess you could say, is like this person really needs to hit. They need to make the team. They need to do well. And then down to the bottom of I don't think this guy's the chances of him making the team or being in a top role is going to be a lot lower, I feel. And they might change as we go through and talk. So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And we're going to have objections between each picks, right? And we're going to put all of our picks kind of together on this list. So things will change. So we'll go through my list and then Nick will carry on through yours after that. So things will change. So we'll start off with some Red Wings news, and it's just one thing, Nick. There was something that came out on Twitter. I am completely drawing a blank on who posted this, but shout out to that person who did. But Nick, do you know how many players in the NHL last year put up 200 plus blocks and 200 plus hits?
One person.
And do you know how many have done that in the last decade?
Oh, two?
One.
Or one? Oh, geez. Okay.
Do you know who that player is?
I think I have two of his jerseys. Mo Sider.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mo Sider is the only player this season and in the last decade to put up 200 plus blocks and 200 plus hits in a single season. And people are wondering why the contract negotiations are probably taking so long. Well, you look at something like what Brock Faber got. I'm sure Claude Lemieux is going to Moritz Seider saying, hey, go to Steve and say, well, he got that for one season. I've been in 3. I did this. No one else has done this. Give me $10 million. Nick, do you see this as a potential bargaining chip for Moritz Seider and his agent going to Steve Yzerman?
Yeah, whoever posted this needs to take it down and stop posting good Mo stats. Like, come on, are you on the team or are you on Team Mo? Like, yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. It's how these contract negotiations are going down. I think with Mo, he wants to stay here, but I also think it's so weird to have Claude Lemieux as your agent. So like that, like the grudge and the rivalry and things like that. I'm just like, how this he picked the worst agent of anybody for like a Detroit Red Wing. Like, there's no way we're gonna get a team friendly option here. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out. And it's definitely not helpful, but he deserves whatever he gets. You know, like he is the star for our defense, and hopefully he gets what he wants and he stays here with the team and like gives them a little bit of the balance, you know, between the team friendly option and his option. So.
Yeah, I agree with you on all of that. Yeah, no, that was very interesting. I didn't know that until that was shown on social media and Twitter. And so I thought that was very interesting and definitely does not help the negotiation side. It definitely increases the value for sure. But yeah, so Nick, why don't we just go ahead and jump into it? Let's go ahead and do our top 10 prospects in the pipeline for the Detroit Red Wings. Basically, the only rule, Nick, was that we couldn't use players that are projected to be on the Red Wings roster.
Which are
Marco Kasper, Nate Danielson. You can make the argument, but we are not saying that they are going to make it. So they are technically on this list. So players like Simon Edvinsson, Jonathan Berggren, and Albert Johansson do not qualify for this list because they are expected to be on the team. So, and then after this, we will announce the winners of our hat giveaway because we did reach 500 subscribers, which is super awesome. Can't thank you guys enough. So I'm going to take the time to say thank you once again for all the love, support, and appreciation for everything that we do. Show it to the guys over at Hockeytown West Podcast too. Go ahead and give them a subscription. You can find them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a whole bunch of other platforms as well. But yeah, I will be announcing the winners of our Twitter giveaway that we are giving away 3 of these Hockeytown Rundown hats. We do have 2 different variations of them. So those winners will get to choose between the 2 and then select a color of their choice. They do come in black or gray. So continue watching this episode to find out if you won or not. So Nick,
spoiler alert, did I win one?
Didn't you tell me that you didn't want it if you did win it?
Maybe I did.
Maybe you did. I'm sure we can work out to get you one, buddy. I'll get you one here. But let's go ahead and jump into it, Nick. We're going to start with the honorary mentions. And for me, I mean, Nick, we talked about it right before we started recording. A lot of these players, they're so close right now that it was very difficult to decide this list and make it the way that we did. Would you agree with me on that? It was very difficult.
Oh yeah, it was like splitting hairs between some of the players because it was like it was tough. It was very tough.
It was. Yeah, I would agree with you on that. And so without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it. Let's see. Who do I even want to start? Let's go ahead and start with Andre Beecher. He is a 20-year-old, 6', 187-pound left-handed forward who was just recently drafted by the Detroit Red Wings in the 2024 draft. 3rd round, 80th overall. Yeah, he's an older player, somewhat of a late bloomer, if that's what you want to call him. He has been playing in the WHL for the Prince George Cougars, and he kind of just exploded on the scene this previous season in 58 games, 32 goals, 64 assists, 96 points. He played in the U20 International Junior for Czechia and then played in the World Junior Championship U20 team. With the U20 team for the World Juniors, he put up 10 points in 7 games, and then for international, 14 points in 13 games. Nick, this is a guy I'm actually excited for. I think he can make the jump to GR right away.
Oh yeah, me and Brandon are very excited for this guy to start. We don't know exactly where he's going to fit on the lineup yet, but we are very excited for his offensive input because we need wingers right now. Like, we'll need some centers here in a few, but the way it's looking right now, the way we have good center depth with Grand Rapids. So having Andre Beecher with his shot and his skill set on the offensive side, we're very excited for.
Do you have any fleck with the position of being an honorary mention? Would you push him up any higher than this?
No, I put him as honorary mention as well because I want to see like how he does this year with Grand Rapids, given a bigger sample size. That I mean, the jump from juniors to USFDA. I'm excited to see what he does. Everybody's a little different,
Okay, and then we're going to go to another recent draft pick. This guy was selected in the second round, and that would be Max Planty, I believe is how you pronounce it. He was drafted in the second round, like I just said, 47th overall, 18 years old, 176 pounds, 5'11". Says he plays center. I'm sure he could probably play on the wing, but this is a guy who was selected to be a playmaker for the Detroit Red Wings in the future. With the USNTDP in the USHL in 25 games, put up 29 points, and then with the U18 team in 51 games, he put up 61 points. He's got a sick pass. That's exactly what you drafted him for, is to be that playmaker guy that can facilitate the puck pretty much anywhere on the ice. He's got a little bit of a shot on him, but it's not definitely as great as his passing ability, and he's got good edges on him. At least that's what I noticed from when I got to watch him during his time after getting drafted. So thoughts on him, Nick?
He's got a long line of genes in the NHL. So honorable mention. He's a little bit on the shorter side. I'm excited to see what he does, and maybe pairing him up with with Amadeus Lombardi. Two short guys, playmaking ability. Amo's got a good shot, even though he says he doesn't. And then this guy's be able to set him up. I think that's kind of where he's going to fall for the next couple of years until maybe he grows a little bit too, which would help. But honorable mention, just want to see, kind of what he does in his first pro season.
And then up next for me is it Yessi or is it Jesse Kiskinen?
You guys have talked about this guy way more than we have at the moment. So, yeah, leading it back to you, buddy.
All right, we're going to go with Jesse Kiskinen. Honestly, this guy I'm really excited about. This is the guy that we acquired in the Andrew Gibson trade. He was drafted originally by the Nashville Predators in the third round, 68th overall. And I could see it from a fan perspective. Wallander was, or not Wallander, but Andrew Gibson, he was a former second round draft pick in the same draft. So he technically fell back, but Kiskinen, he's done really well. And I think that this is going to be a really great trade for Steve Yzerman and the Red Wings. To be honest, I didn't think there was going to be opportunity for Gibson to make the lineup. I think he has the potential to be a top 4 defenseman, and with ASP, there's really not that room there. So could it be a third pair? Sure, but it just wasn't going to work out with him, especially when you have players like Anto Tuomisto who could make the jump here pretty soon, it seems like, to me at least. But yeah, Kiskinen playing in the Liga, he put up 10 points in 38 games with the U20 team for the Pelicans, put up 21 points in 8 games with 14 goals. And then for U19 International Junior, 16 points in 7 games, U20, 4 points in 8 games. And then he's expected to play in Liga again this year. And then so far this year for the U20 International, he put up 6 points in 6 games. So, Nick, thoughts on him?
So this was a tough one because I really liked Andrew Gibson. Like, I was big on him. I was able to watch a couple of his games when he would play for the Sioux. And so I was stoked when be able to watch him and see how he played defense it was very good. It was very different. Mm-hmm. So I was excited about him. When I found out we traded him for Yessi, I was a little disappointed, but I understood the logjam that Steve was dealing with. But this guy, I would like to see him over here. I mean, another year over in La Liga will probably do him well. Maybe 1 year over here at Grand Rapids, and then potentially moving up to Detroit after maybe 2-3 years. I don't know what the timeline on this prospect is. So this one's a little bit more tougher for me just because I haven't been watching a whole lot of the international games.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's pretty much the case for a majority of the Red Wings fans and probably the podcasters too. I'm not going to sit here and say that I know everything about Jesse Kiskinen, but I do think that there's a reason why you traded to get him, and also getting a second round pick on top of it. I mean, he's no schmuck, right? I mean, the numbers speak for itself. I think those are really good numbers for someone who's 18 years old. He's not 19 yet. So I think there's a lot left to be seen, right? So we're just going to have to wait and be patient with this guy. But right-handed shooter too. So that's something that we really don't have too many players of, right, in our prospect pool. So that is a really nice addition to have. So
I think I'm just going to be heartbroken over Andrew Gibson, being shipped out for a while. I just don't think my heart's healed from that. So this guy will always have a little grudge in my heart.
Yeah. No, it definitely hurt a lot of people, and I was a very excited Andrew Gibson person, or however you want to say it. Words are hard today on Sundays, man.
Yeah, it's like a cup of coffee might help.
At number 10, we're finally making it into the list, and I already hovered over the man. My number 10 is Carter Mazer. I'm probably going to get a lot of flack about this. I actually said that to Nick. I did actually have him higher, and I did have him higher only because I didn't want to receive flack, but I bumped him down to number 10. And for me, the reason why is because I just have not seen enough. Yes, he has done some good stuff. Like he showed up in the playoffs. Yes, he looked really good in the playoffs. I need full consistency. I want to see him in a full healthy season. If he can do that and perform in the playoffs again, I would bump him up from here. Nick, your thoughts on Carter Mazer at the number 10? Would you bump him up? Would you not have him on here?
Yeah, man, you are harsh on this guy. I mean, he put up some points this year. He was on the first line. His line was buzzing. It was him, Berge, and Mazer for a little bit. And they had also Sarnik center that line as well at some points in the season. Health was an issue, so I'll give you that. Like his health, he did sit a couple games. I think he had the flu for a little bit, and he also had a shoulder injury that he was dealing with at one point. I shouldn't say shoulder injury. I should say injury, or just sitting out. So he did play all the games, but the AHL is weird with injuries. They don't report injuries. They just say that he's sitting out. So I had him higher. I believe I had him 7th on my list.
Okay.
So yeah, you're pretty harsh, buddy.
We'll put him there at 7 when we finish through my list, but I'm just looking at it from a long-term perspective. I'm going to go back to that. While, yes, he was out for a decent amount, not too many games. What is it? They play 72 games in the AHL season? Something like that around there. So he played in 60. He put up, oh boy, I just had it. Now I lost it. He put up 37 points, 17 goals, 20 assists, 8 points in 9 playoff games. Like I said, that was awesome. He's someone that gets underneath opponent's skin, right? I don't see him being a top 6 player like I do for some of these other players, and then defensemen that are on here as well. I see him more being a facilitator type of role player that could be in the bottom 6 that can still produce for you. Not saying that he doesn't have a role or a fit for this team, but based on the other players that I have on my list and that I'm ranking, I think that they can be a little bit more serviceable or fit a role that the Red Wings need in the future. And that's just me.
I could see him in that, like the third line, the grind line kind of the role, for Carter Mazer. Still put some points, but still get on the skin, grind it out. Like I could see that.
Yeah. There's another player that's very similar to that plays a different position, and I'll be talking about that as well too. But the next player up that we can go into is none other than Shai Buium. Oh, I'm copying words there. There we go. So yeah, Shai Buium, he 2 national championships, right? With Colorado or Denver.
Played 1 regular season game.
1 game.
I believe.
No points.
1 game, no points. Honestly, I think during that time with Grand Rapids, they were just kind of try to put him in the lineup and see what he did. I mean, we had already clinched the playoff spot at that point, so they're just trying to get his feet wet, see what he does.
Yeah. So like I said, just talking about his accolades, he won 2 national championships with Denver. This past season with Denver, he put up 36 points in 43 games. So he definitely boasted up his numbers from the previous 2 seasons that he was there with them. Previously, it was 21 and an 18. Was his brother a factor to boast his numbers? Maybe it was, but I do think that Shai Buium could be a mainstay with the Detroit Red Wings. He can be that guy that fills in the top 4 if an injury comes, but I think his main spot would be on the third pair, and that's no disrespect to him. I think he's a really good player, but you need players that are that good to fill in those spots if you can. And the player that I have ahead of him is the next player up, and I think that player would fit better in the top 4 than Buium would. And I could be completely wrong, but this is just my opinion based on what I've seen so far and what I'm understanding that this player can be. And I would love to be wrong. I hope Buium becomes a top pair left-handed defenseman. And that's the other thing. It's tough because he's left-handed and we have so many already, like Simon Evans and Albert Johansson. Wallander, and a couple other players that I can name off, right? And so it's just very difficult, but this is where I have Booyum right now. Nick, tell me I'm wrong. Where would you put?
You're wrong. I actually did not. No, I'm kidding. I put him right around there. I want to see if more like a fuller season, but like if I could I had somebody else kind of slotted at that 9 role before William, but the potential's there. The ceiling is he has a huge ceiling, like he could get to that point. I could see it. I need to see more. The first game, like he played limited minutes, he limited role, kind of sheltered. So, and he played safe. Like it was just play pass, play catch in that game, which no fault to him. No fault to him at all. He's just kind of thrown in there. So I could see him rising up the ranks. I could see him settling at 9 for a while. I had somebody different there though.
For sure. Yeah. No, and that's good. Yeah, we'll obviously check that out once we get through here. So my next player is another defenseman that goes by William Wallander. Yeah, the reason why I'm putting him over William, and I know this goes against everything that I just said, but he's already played in an AHL season. He looked really good, but based on what I've seen even before being with Grand Rapids, Nick, I mean, he's just so fluid on his skates. It looks like that he has decent, like, how do I want to say it? It's not decent, but like I think it's better than decent. He's gonna have good offensive potential, I think, in the NHL based on the way that he is fluid on his skates and he can open up the shooting lanes that he can create to put the pucks in the net. And that's why I put him ahead of Booyum. And like I said, that's no fleck on Booyum. They just play a little different styles of games. I think William Wallander has more offensive upside, and that's why I'm putting him there. And I think he is, no matter what team he would be on, if it's not in the Red Wings system, he is a top 4 defenseman, I think, in the NHL looking deeper down the line. That's my opinion on it. Nick, what do you think about that?
I'm big on Wally. I am a big fan of Wallander. This year he played a very sheltered role in Grand Rapids. I think it was like second or third, or like he was more towards the second or third line, which was fine. It was his first full season with Grand Rapids. He played the season prior, but just at the end of the Liga. So he got a few games in, but didn't play. I don't think he played more than like 5 games, to be honest.
Yeah, it was just one.
And then he was injured. So they sat him for the rest. So this season, he did really well. The practice that me and Brandon were able to go to for the season ticket holders, he has a shot. Like he can sneak in when he gets activated. Like he could go, and we want to see more of and we're talking with Dan Watson a couple weeks ago. He said, look out for this guy. He's going to play a bigger role. He's going to be on the upswing. Be ready for him because he's going to kind of take over that Albert and Simon roles of like being that top defenseman. So I actually agreed with you here. I put him in as 8. So
wow. Okay, yeah, cool.
That's the only one you got right.
Hey, we're not here to be right. We're here to just have fun, right? So let us know down in the comments what you think of this list so far. Let us know how your list would look. Let us know what your top 10 would look like. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, rate us 5 stars, give us a thumbs up, do whatever you got to do. We're on Apple, YouTube, and Spotify. So, Nick, let's go ahead and jump into the next player. And no, we are not going to another defenseman, but we are going overseas. And where did I put him on my list? Oh, my goodness. Where is he? Do I not have him on here? Here he is. There we go. I almost forgot what his jersey looked like. No, you're not at number 8. You are number 7. Dmitry Buchelnikov. Booch bombs. Yes, this guy. He's a former 2022 second round pick, 52nd overall by the Detroit Red Wings. Shoots right. He's 5'10", 170 pounds. A lot of fans, when he was drafted, they're like, this is the next Pavel Datsyuk. This is a player who has a really good shot. There's a reason why they call him Booch Bombs. He's got a really good clapper, just a really good shot overall. And he puts up some pretty good numbers in the KHL this year, 29 points in 55 games. Being on a loan to Admiral Vladivostok, I think, and then he did play with St. Petersburg in the VHL. He put up 12 points in 10 games, played 1 game in the MHL for 1 point as well. I think that he, along the way, Nick, he became like a lost prospect, and that might be because it is overseas in Russia. That's where he's stationed at. I firmly believe this is a player can be a top 6 player if we give him the opportunity. It's just, when is that going to happen? and it's just kind of weird because the way that we're allowing this player to develop, it's almost it gives me flashbacks of kind of like how Ken Holland ran the prospect pool, right? Of like, you have to be a minimum age of 24 before you can even step foot on Detroit Red Wings ice, right? It almost kind of feels like that, but I know that this is probably the best development path for him. Like, stay at home, get comfortable, play with adults, become a pro. When you're ready, do you start in Grand Rapids? That's probably most likely. Does he have a chance to make the NHL? There's a very good possibility of that too. It depends on what they need at that time and where's the spot that they can fill in. But based on what I think he can provide in the future, I think he can be a top 6 player, maybe a middle 6 player. But I think he's going to score you a lot of goals, and that's what you drafted him to do. Thoughts on that, Nick?
I was very high on Booch the last few years. And he's still very young. That's the one thing that is working in our favor, is that he's still a young prospect. So even though I think he's in Russia for another 2 years, 2 seasons.
Yeah, he signed that weird contract or whatever it was. Yeah, so it's technically like 1 or 2 more years. You're right.
And then he could come over. So I think it's going to line up really well, even though we drafted him a few years back. I mean, I think it's still, he's on that development stage. He's still progressing well. He's kind of like bounced around in Russia all last season. He was traded a few times. But like his highlight reel, like not only does he have a great shot, his gloves are silky. Like he is very creative with the puck. He's got some awesome dekes. Like his shootout attempts are just nuts. I think he was it the World Juniors or the Worlds just a few weeks back. He had this crazy penalty shootout.
Oh yes, I know what you're talking about. It was it was like a international friendly of some sort, I believe, something like that. Yes.
Absolutely sick. If you haven't checked it out, check that out. But it was I was high on him. I've actually moved him down on my list.
Oh, okay. And that's okay. That's okay. Not everyone is high on Booch bombs. I think a lot of people just need to go ahead and check out some highlight videos on the reason why they call them Booch bombs. So, but no, cool. Okay, so we're gonna go into the next player, which is going to be Marco Kasper. A lot of people might not like that I have him this low. Honestly, I don't think I have a really good excuse, because my only excuse why I have him this low is because based on expectations when he was drafted versus now what it looks like, I don't actually foresee him being. Can he play in the top 6? Yes. Do I think that's probably the best fit for him to thrive the best? Me personally, no. I think he is going to be a really good 3C that gets underneath the opponent's skin. He can chip in point production wise. He can pass the puck. He almost can do it all, just not at a very high elite level. It's basically like Carter Mazur at the center position. To me personally, this is what I kind of think about Marco Kasper currently right now. I would love to be proved wrong 5 years from now. Please become an 80-point player. I would love that, because he does that for me all the time whenever I play franchise mode on NHL 24. Just comes out of the scene booming. But this is the spot that I have him at. Like I said, I would love to be proved wrong. I would love for him to. I see the argument where a lot of fans say, let's put him at the 4C spot for the Red Wings, or let's put him on the wing for the Red Wings right now. I want to see pure, utter domination on the top line if that's where they put him in Grand Rapids, and prove to me like I could be a point per game player in the Grand Rapids Griffins in the AHL, and then be somewhat of a point per game player in the playoffs. Or if he can ball out in the playoffs and he's just a playoff performer type of guy, I'm happy with that too. But number 6 is where I have him at. Nick, thoughts on that?
Let me see. What? I actually had him here too, to be honest with you. I had, so we're 2 for 2. Marco really, for the international guys, it takes them at least like half a season to really figure out the ice over here in North America. So we kind of put a projection on him for like Christmas time with the team to be able to like start getting in the flow and like really dominating. And that's where you saw Marco Kasper last year. Was the first half of the season he was pretty silent. There wasn't much there. He was doing all the right things, but he wasn't putting up points. And I don't think he's going to be, I don't know if he's going to be that point offensive getter kind of guy, but he is. What I like about Marco Kasper's game is he's feisty. Like after the whistle, he toes the line. Like everybody says Carter Mazur's that like get under your skin kind of guy. I didn't really see that a whole lot from Carter, but I'm going to be watching a lot more this year for those antics. But we saw him all the time with Marco. So I think you're right with where you kind of projected him and where he's falling. I'm hoping he's here next year with Grand Rapids, just so we could fully see a full season of like what this guy really is. So
Right.
And he's played top lines over here at GR.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, and I hope that that's what they do with him currently, because you look at some of the names that they have taken so far. I mean, it's going to be interesting the way that they designate players on the roster for Grand Rapids. So we're going to have you guys on for an episode to discuss that in the near future, I'm sure, when you guys have the time to do it, because you guys are very busy upcoming. So we're going to change it up once again, and we are going to go into goaltending. And next up, it's going to be the other goaltender, the younger one, and that's going to be Trey Augustine, who plays for Michigan State University. Is currently 19 years old, 6'1", 183 pounds, former second round pick by the Detroit Red Wings in 2023. Nick, I think we're both really excited about this guy. I think we've talked about that. In his first season at MSU, under a new head coach, mind you, too, and a whole bunch of new players with a whole new system, in 35 games, he put up a .296 and a .915 save percentage, and he put up 3 shutouts. So his record was 23-9-2. And unfortunately, they don't have his numbers for the tournament that they played in, but he looked decent. I thought MSU as a whole didn't really back up Trey Augustine. I thought he was by far probably the best player on that team outside of whatever that defenseman guy's name is that was in this most recent draft. Levshushkin, I believe his name is. I'm saying it way wrong. But I thought he was the best player for MSU this last season, and it's only going to get better from there. That's why I put him at number 5. You could have swapped him and Kosa here, but this is where I'm putting him, and I only put Kosa ahead of him because he's played in Grand Rapids, and because of that, and I do think that I should say this, I know he is bigger. He's bigger. Is he a little more athletic? Maybe not. I don't know. But right now, currently, this is where I sit. Spoiler alert, Kosa is at number 4. But what do you think about Augustine being at number 5, Nick?
I think you're close.
I should actually swap them. I'm actually going to do that mid-episode right now, because I do think overall, and I said that already, that Augustine, I actually didn't say it, but I'm going to say it now. I think Augustine will be the better goaltender between the two, so I'm actually swapping them now. So what's your thought on that? I'm combining the two now.
Oh, wow. I had an angle, and then you swapped this up on me. They play the goalie position very differently between the two of them. Trey is a lot like Alex Lyon, the way he plays. He's very sound. He's very structured on the way he plays. I actually had Trey. I've had Trey ahead of Kosa. Don't tell Kosa that, but I've had, or tell him, maybe the lights a fire under him. But I had Trey. I had both of these guys actually a little bit higher in my rankings. Just because of the importance that they are for Detroit. Like, there's a lot riding on these two guys to figure it out and get to the NHL as soon as possible, based off of last season, and kind of like what our goalie future looks like. It's these two guys, they are held in high regard in the organization, and it's like we're trying to protect them at all costs. Like, we need these guys to do well. That's why I have them higher in my rankings, but I have Trey first and then Kosa at a little bit lower.
Do you expect to see Kosa getting at least a game this season with the Detroit Red Wings, or not really, based on the way that Steve Yzerman has acquired so many goaltenders on the team?
I hope not. I hope he does not get a game in Detroit, to be honest with you. What we saw last year with Jasper Wallstedt, they did that to him, and he got lit up for 7 goals. So I would rather this year Kosa takes the lead, and then they've got their backups going. I'm blanking on it right now, the name, but for those. But the other reason too that I put Augustine ahead was because of the exclusive company that he is in. Are you aware of this?
Enlighten me.
So on the Malik report, there is only, I believe, 8 players that have got 4 medals in Olympic competition and for the U.S. And Trey Augustine is able to join that company, and he is still so young that he could actually jump into the next category. So I saw this the other day. I'm trying to find the article, but I might send it to you later.
Yeah, please do. That is insane. No, I was completely unaware of that. So thank you for bringing that to light. That is, wow, that's awesome. Okay, so good for him, honestly. Good job, Trey. There you go, buddy. But yeah, Sebastian Cossa, I know I didn't really touch on his profile. Former first round pick, 15th overall, 2021 draft this past season. He put up a 241 goals against and a 913 save percentage, 22-9-9 record in 40 games, and then in 9 playoff games, 272 goals against, 900 save percentage. Honestly, not bad numbers. The playoffs, he technically did all right, I guess. You probably would have liked a little bit better. All right, Nick. We got our next player coming up, and that next player would be this list. I mean, let us know what you think down below in the comment section, what you think or how you think that this list is shaping up. Let us know your thoughts on it so far. So another former, most recent draft pick that the Red Wings just acquired, the former first round pick in this year's draft, MB and Michael Brandzik, Nygard, however you pronounce it. People keep on telling me, I keep on forgetting. So what? Anyways, yeah, right wing, shoots right. This is a player who's projected to be playing in the SHL with Skellefteå, with ASP. Very excited about that, actually, me personally. This is a player that I think is going to be a top 6 mold. Do I think he's going to be as good as Lucas Raymond? I hope so. Do I know? No, I don't. I'm going to say that to you right now. Do I think? But I do believe that he has top 6 potential, where I think that you can swap him either on the top or the second line, personally, if you want to mix and match based on the lineup opponents that you're facing. I do think that he has the ability to be a 70-point plus player. His shot is unbelievable. I do think that it's actually better than a lot of people actually think it's going to be, and it's going to get better over time. And the rest of his game is no knack either, right? You got to look at it. He can skate, he can pass, he can do it all, but his shot is the most lethal thing about him. Steve Yzerman already said that. He already said that, MBN himself, in an interview. So I really do think that he can be a 70-point player, and I think that there is potentially an opportunity for him to be a 40-goal scorer. Maybe this is somewhat of an Alex DeBrincat replacement when Alex DeBrincat is no longer on the team, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe not the same similar mold, but someone who's going to go out there and get you the goals that you need. At least that's what I think and hope for in him. Nick, what are your thoughts on MBN?
I was kind of pegging him more for like a Johan Franzen type player. Like he's that power forward.
No, please, no. I don't want the inconsistencies. I just no knack on Johan Franzen. I just don't want the inconsistencies, right? But I think we'll understand a little bit more this season based on the SHL and see what he looks like. But sorry for cutting you off there.
No, you're good. Like that's why I asked. Like why I think the size, the type of player he is, from what what I've been able to read and see, is like he's a power forward type guy. He could go to the net. He's got a great shot. I think he's gonna be a better version of Johan Franzen, I'm hoping, where he is a little bit more consistent. Because with that was the biggest issue with Johan, is he stepped up in big games and then he was quiet in others, and it was just like, who we got to get this game. So I mean, if he turns into a better Johan Franzen, like that's the ideal position for him. I had him lower just based off of importance to the team. Like if he doesn't make it, yeah, it sucks we lost the draft pick, but at the same point, like there's not as much riding on him, because like you could find other forwards, you could trade for forwards. Like forwards are a dime a dozen. So that's the only reason why I had him a little bit lower.
Yeah, no, you make a really good point of that, and I would agree with you that I probably should have put Cossa or Augustine ahead, because those are the two that we have to ride on to actually make or break it, right? Whereas for MBN, someone like that, where you can go find him in free agency, right? Like we did that with Vladimir Tarasenko, a proven guy who's done it before, versus a player who's still unknown to us technically, right? And so, but that's my projection, or at least my optimism of him, right? Is that he can be somewhat of a same level player as those players that I just named off, or the Vladimir Tarasenko, the one player. Not saying that I want him to be the similar player, but someone who can put up similar type of style play, points, whatever it is, to be a good player in the NHL. But I do believe that he could be a top 6 player. I hope he does not prove me wrong. I hope he does not fall under that category. So prove me right and be a top line player by proving me wrong as well. So that would be awesome. But yeah, I'm putting him there for now. And then Nick, we're getting into the top 2. And we have 4 more names on here. We actually have 5 photos. I kind of goofed up. I messed up on Carter Mazur here. But my number 2, and this one was honestly really tough. I went back and forth on this one, but I'm putting Axel Sandin Pellikka at number 2, and that goes against everything I've said about the man. I mean, I kind of have, it's weird to say, I feel like I have a man crush on him. This guy is, I honestly believe if we did not have Moritz Seider on our team and our pool, whatever, if we never drafted him, he would be our type right-handed defenseman, whatever you want, if you want to call him a prospect right now, but like in the future, like 2 or 3 years from now, he would be our number 1 defenseman. He really would. I guess the best comparison I could make for him would be Filip Hronek, just based on past Red Wings players. But I think his ability is beyond what Filip Hronek could do. He's a lot better on his skates. I think his ability to be decisive with the puck is more than what Filip Hronek had ever done and is currently doing. And he almost broke the record for most goals scored by an SHL player under the age of 20 or something like that, whatever the record was, or 19, right? So the sky's the limit for this kid. He's going to be a really good second pairing defenseman for us on the right-handed side. And there's probably going to be opportunities where him and Seider flip just for matchup purposes. So this is a really, really good second pair defenseman to have on your right-handed side. I do think he could be a top pair right-handed defenseman. So I have him at number 2. You can make the argument you have him at number 1. Nick, thoughts?
I do have him at number 1.
Do you? See? Yeah. So I mean, tell us why
hairs at this one.
Yeah, say why you would put him at number 1 then, real quick.
This kid's electric. I mean, there is so much sizzle around this guy. I mean, the stats for the SHL, like that's mind blowing as a young defenseman to be able to put up those numbers. Like he could be like, in the NFL, you're always drafted franchise quarterback. Like this is like your franchise defenseman. Like who knows what's going to happen with him? Well, hopefully he gets the contract. Hopefully he's here long term. But if for whatever reason we lost Mo, like this is going to be a player that we could still build around. So in a different way, right? They play 2 different styles, but those are like, that's why I put him as number 1. He's more electric. We do need the defenseman. Like he's slotted for that spot, the top 4 defensemen. And that's where like, there's a lot of pressure on that side. Cause if we get the goalies are doing well and we got ASP, Mo, Simon, and Buyum or Vollander or Tuomisto in there, like we're sitting pretty good on the back end. So that's why I play him at 1.
Yeah, that back end is Kosa and Augustine. I bet you they look on elite prospects every day, and they're like, God, I can't wait to play with these guys in 2 years and not let a single goal in, night out.
That'd be the dream.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God. But yeah, I agree with you. He's just super electric. Just go ahead and go watch some of his highlights. The way he just moves, he's just so good with the stick, his skates, his overall hockey mind on the ice is unreal. It's just so fascinating to watch him. And he's the player that, if you're not at the game and if you're just sitting on the couch, he's going to get your butt off that couch when he's going down the ice every single time, because like you just never know what he's going to do, what kind of move he's going to pull. It's just so sick. Like I'm going to go on eBay later and go find a Skellefteå jersey and buy it with his name on it. That's how much I like him. I really do like him, and I'm kind of regretting not putting him there, but I also really like this player. It's obviously got to be Nate Danielson. I was someone who was pounding on the table. I thought he could have made the Red Wings team out of camp last year, out of the preseason games. A lot of people will, maybe not a lot of people, but some people will probably disagree with me that it was probably better for him to go back to the WHL. He got traded to go play on a better team, which was awesome, right? So he looked really good in the playoffs with them, made it all the way to the finals. And then he got to show his stint with Grand Rapids for like a game or two, Nick. And, he didn't really look He looked all right, it seemed like. He was probably super tired, like I said, playing in the playoffs a whole entire season, coming into a system he doesn't really know, playing with players he doesn't really know very well. But I think that there is an opportunity for him to make the team out of camp. But I think overall it would be best for him to play in Grand Rapids growth-wise. He needs to play with these players that he's going to be playing with a long time. You might as well start it now. The reason why I have him at number 1 is because I believe he's going to be a top 6 center. Do I think he's going to be a number 1 center? No. And it pains me to say that. I think he could be a really good top 6 center. I think he's going to be someone who's a little bit less better than Dylan Larkin. I want to be proved wrong. I mean, I remember going back and watching the Dylan Larkin draft day videos, and they were like, this guy's only good at goal scoring. That's all he's ever going to be. And Dylan Larkin proved them wrong. He's become a way better player than what they expected him to be. And I believe that Nate Danielson has the ability to do the exact same thing. Even just hearing him talk, he is someone who's well over his age right now. I mean, you wouldn't even know that he's 18, 19 years old currently right now, or 20, however old he is. I should have up his prospect profile pulled up here, actually. Yeah, 19 years old still, 6'2", 187 pounds, and he shoots right too. So those are awesome to have too. And so that's the reason why I have him at the top spot. I think based on his future ability with this team and what he can provide, 2Cs typically don't fall in free agency, right? Can they? Yes, more so than 1Cs, but it's better to draft them than it is actually to go out and spend all the high dollar to get them with the cap now rising. We saw what Steven Stamkos got, some of these other players too. So, how soon can he make the team? I think he could make the team right out of camp this year. I really do think so. But we look at the center depth, and it's very tight right now. You got players like Larkin, Andrew Kopp, Comfer, Veleno, Casper, Danielson, and some other names too. It's just very, very tight. But I really do believe Danielson could be a 70-point player. Could he get the 80 points? Sure, on a really good season. I want to be proved wrong once again. Be that number 1C, please. We would love it. And if not, then it's going to be really difficult to go find one, because the only way we're ever going to get one is if we just have that one weird season where everyone gets injured and we get a top 5 pick somehow out of the blue. And it's a really deep draft and we draft a number 1 center. So Danielson has a lot, I think, has the most burden on his shoulders out of all the prospects. I think we probably expect the most out of him outside of goaltending. I would say they're probably the most, right? But I think outside of goaltending, he's probably the one who has the most ride on his shoulders, like in terms of what the organization wants him to be perspective wise. Not saying that they don't want him to be Nate Danielson, but they have a lot of high hopes for him. Overall thoughts, Nick. I'll leave it to you. I gotta breathe and everything.
This was splitting hairs, like I said. These two were very close. I flipped them only just so I was different from you, to be honest with you.
Okay, that's fine.
I think he could become that, franchise player. There's a lot of similarities between him and Dylan Larkin. I think Dylan had a harder transition. He had a harder path in the NHL, going through those seasons with, those losing seasons. So it's really like callous that would have made him harder. Hopefully like they get Nate in there with him and like kind of be a mentor. And I don't know. I think he is probably the most important, besides the goalies and besides ASP. Like, he is probably one of the most important players that he could be a franchise center. I mean, like, it's hard to get those guys at free agency. It's hard with the cap and the tax, the income tax stuff for the salary cap for those states. I only put them as 2 just to be different from you. Because there is a lot of flash. There is a lot of sizzle around this guy, but not as much as ASP, I feel. I'm hoping, like, I'm selfish, but I'm hoping that we can just run it back with Nate next year in Grand Rapids, give him the full first season with the men in the league in the AHL, and then pull him up the year after. But that's just me. Like, get him comfortable, get that chemistry, and then you see like him and a bunch of guys make that jump the next year. Is kind of what I'm hoping. But yeah, I mean, he could make it out of camp. I don't think that's the plan for him, but who knows? Maybe he goes in and blows the doors down. Who knows? So
I kind of felt like he did that last season, to be honest. I mean, did he kind of have like a Lucas Raymond standout, pound on the table type of action, or knock the door down, kick it down? No, but I thought he did enough where I could say he looked better than Joe Valeno did. He looked better than at least 2 or 3 other players that were on the team that I could name off. Personally, I believed, but it is what it is. There was really no wrong way that you could have went about it. But I will agree with you. I think he should start in Grand Rapids this year. As much as I want to see him in Detroit, that's probably the best way to go about it. And I will say this right now, and I'm going to say this in a future episode because we will be having a hot take episode eventually. I think the Red Wings are going to get hit with the injury bug this year. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for young players to have playing time on this roster. There wasn't a lot of injuries last year. It's gonna happen eventually, and I hope to God it's not Dylan Larkin, because this team just cannot do anything without him. So that's there you go. You guys heard my first hot take of the 24-25 season. There you go.
First glad I was able to get it out of you.
Yeah. But that's the list. That's a list. Nick, we're going to do yours real quick, but to the viewers, the watchers, the listeners, if you guys are watching on YouTube, go ahead and leave it down in the comments what you think about the list. If you guys have it differently, let me know what your list is. Nick, let's go ahead and do yours. So what are some of the changes? Or actually, let's go ahead and start from the bottom up. So we got these 2 other players here. So go ahead and tell us why or where you had these players.
I put Amadeus Lombardi as an honorable mention. I think we've talked this with Amo quite a bit this season, and I think this next season you're going to see the points start coming in bunches with him. The confidence, it takes him a little bit, like he said, as to adjust to the league. I think, like, I don't know, this there's something about this kid, and I think there's going to be something there for him. So the future doesn't hinge on this guy, which is good. But I think he can make the team at some point. So I put him as honorable mention.
No, I agree with you. I think it's going to be more so like, how do I want to put this? Like not a key role, but he's definitely going to fit a role that the Red Wings want, and it's going to be a bottom 6 role. I think he makes the roster. I think there is a spot for him on the roster in the future, but it's going to be something like that. Once again, Lambo, prove me wrong, please. I would love to. Do you see him more as like a playmaker? Do you see him as like a goal scorer? What kind of role would you say that he could play for the Red Wings?
He's a playmaker. Yeah, he's fast, and he's great at turning the puck over, like getting those turnovers from the other team. Not giveaways, but getting the puck over from stealing the puck from the other team. Takeaways. So I think he's small. He's gritty. He could get in the tight areas. I mean, I'd like to see the points. I'm hoping he can get up there. But we'll see. I mean, there's just so much. I don't think he's hit the ceiling yet. So that's why I want to put him as honorable mention.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And a lot of these players, they're all, I'm pretty sure majority of them, they're all under 22. Like 95% of these players on this list are under the age of 22 or 21. So there's a lot of room to grow for these players. So Ammo included. So who's this lovely fella that we got right here? Where are we putting him at?
This is Antti Tuomisto. He did really well this year with Grand Rapids. More on the sheltered line or sheltered role this year, but he did get some top line minutes when Simon got called up, and he's got a crazy shot. Like, he is not afraid to rip this thing. So this season, when we talked to Dan a couple weeks ago, he said that this guy and Volliner are the 2 that are going to make the biggest steps up, and probably not be as sheltered on the defensive end. So honorable mention. I think he could potentially make the Detroit roster. If he does, great. If he doesn't, it's not a big deal. That's kind of why I put him in honorary mention, but I don't want us to forget about Tuomisto.
Yeah, I mean, he's a big boy. I think he plays a good role for the
huge.
Detroit Red Wings. I think he's a decent, if he's not like a sixth defenseman on the right-handed side, he's a seventh defenseman. I think he's a really good player that actually can fill a spot on this team at some capacity, right? I mean, that slap shot or just a shot in general, you need that. You need that from the depth players too. But is he a top 4 guy? Could he be? Maybe. But I don't think that that's what we're going to get out of him, right? I mean, prove us wrong once again, please. I'm saying this to all these guys. Be more than what we expect you to be.
And like, he doesn't need to be that top 4. I mean, with who we have already in the Red Wings, like the pressure isn't there for him. Like he could come in and be bottom role. He could come in and be top guy if he needs to fill in if there's injuries or things like that. So time will tell, with this guy.
Time will tell. Yep. Okay, so let's go ahead and move up. And I know that you said like you had some players. So where did you have Carter Mazur here at 10?
I had Carter Mazur at number. I want to go through it, actually label mine. Number 7.
At number 7. Okay. So who did you have at number 10?
I had Butch.
Okay.
Mr. Butch. Number 10. The Russia thing still scares me. So that's my only concern is like maybe he doesn't come over, So and the future of the Red Wings is not dependent on this guy. So if he makes it over, great. I'm going to be super pumped because I've been a big supporter of this guy for the last few years. But if he doesn't and he just stays with Russia and kind of bounces around, cool too. So
number 9, I got William. Who'd you have?
I had William /2-0. So that's kind of where I had put him.
Okay.
So I was kind of like in between those two. Wally, I had an 8.
Yep.
Number 7 is Carter.
Yep.
Number 6, Marco.
Yep. Okay.
Number 5, I had MBN.
All right. There we go. There's a swap. Okay. And then it sounded like that you had Augustine at 3 and Kos at 4, or you had him
4. Yep. Kos at 4.
And then you had these two swapped because you wanted to be different.
A little bit more sizzle on ASP. And I'm big on defensemen. So I played defenseman in the sports that I had played. So I focus more on the defensive side and goalie. So I'm always going to lean more that way on prospects and players. So
yeah, I really have no arguments against the way that you ordered yours. I think a lot of people would probably agree with both of ours, but if you do or you don't, I've said this already probably like 4, 5, 69 times. Go ahead and leave it down in the comments if you agree with us. If you disagree with us, let us know your list. We would love to know. We want to create discussions with you guys. So, but here's your top 5. I mean, yeah, pretty simple. I mean, you could easily say for both of us, these are your top 5 and you could put them in any order. Is there someone in your mind that you could see breaking into this top 5?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Maybe Casper, maybe, but he would have to ball out for me to kind of consider that. But it would be at number 5.
I'd say Mazur.
You would say Mazur?
Yeah.
Point per game kind of guy season this year.
It's funny because out of my show I'm pretty harsh on Carter, but here I'm gonna be more lenient. So maybe I could come back to the middle of the median of people's projections on him. But yeah, I would say maybe Carter. Maybe I could see maybe Carter being better than MBN or like being there faster, But yeah, I could see that. Or maybe one of the goalies falls off. If something crazy happens. Goalies are voodoo, like we say. So. Maybe one of those guys drops down, but yeah.
Ask us again in 5 years.
Yeah.
Comment on this video in 5 years, and then we'll reply to you saying, yes, we were dead wrong on all of these players.
We'll put this in the time capsule.
Yeah. And we were all wrong because they all exceeded all of our expectations, which would be fantastic. We would love that. Please do that for Steve Eisman, the Detroit Red Wings, and its fans. That's the list. That's all she wrote. So going back at it, yeah, just going down the list here, and we're good, Nick. We're good. And we're gonna go ahead and close it off with some around the league news, which I'm slowly pulling up. I lied. We're actually going to do the announcement for the hat giveaway. So we got 3 people that we have selected for the hat giveaway. And in order to enter into the giveaway, you had to have retweeted our post. You had to have commented a picture that you are subscribed to our podcast on YouTube and to be following us on Twitter. And so the 3 people that did win a Hockeytown Rundown hat of their choice are none other than, when I read these names, please send us a direct message on Twitter. So the winners are Randy Zack.
Nice.
Drew, I am so sorry if I pronounce your last name wrong. Begeman? Sorry, Drew. And then Spencer Whitledge. I'm so sorry, Spencer. But those are your 3 winners, Randy, Drew, and Spencer. Yeah, those are your winners. So congratulations. Thank you for supporting us. We really do appreciate it. So send over those addresses so I can get those hats sent out to you. And Nick, real quick, before we close it off, I just want to talk about some around the league news real quick. Did you know the KHL set a new overtime rule? Did you see that by chance?
I saw something about it. I saw a clip, but I didn't understand what was going on. I did no audio on all my videos.
So players can't skate the puck back into their own half of the ice without risking a penalty.
How has this been, like, what has been going on after? So, like, during the penalty, like, is it helping scoring or is it not? Like, what's going on? Like, what are the stats after it now?
Not sure because the KHL, I think they're still in preseason, I believe, but we'll learn more as the season progresses. But the reason behind it is I mean, if you watch NHL games when they go into 3-on-3, there are certain times where in a game, there is one team that holds the puck 4 out of the 5 minutes because they just circle back out of the neutral zone or out of the offensive zone, right? And so they just try to regroup and whatever. So the KHL implemented this rule so that way teams can't puck hog anymore, and it creates them to be a lot quicker and create a more fast-paced environment out on the ice. So that was their reasoning to do it. Does it create more goal scoring? I would assume it would. And I'm sure that's probably one of the reasonings behind it. But I believe the main reason was because it created an unfair advantage where it was too difficult to get players off the puck. What are your thoughts on it overall?
I think it's something that we could try out in one of the leagues over here just to see, or like just let Russia run it this year and see what the stats are. Like, does it help the game? Does it improve the game? Is it, for me, when we go into overtime and it's 3-on-3, it is the most, like, my heart is at like 150 beats per minute. I swear, like, because it's like, yeah, we can hold on to the puck, but if we make a mistake with it, it's 3-on-1 the other way. Like it turns over so fast. So, I mean, I don't know, like, it's already an exciting overtime already. I don't see a whole lot of like the games going to shootout, which is something that they're probably trying to avoid. So, I mean, let Russia run it, see what happens. But I mean, is it something that you want to see over here, or do you want to see it start in the lower leagues, or like, how do you want to see it rolled out, or if all?
I definitely want to see a change. I'm someone who actually does not like the shootout. I think it's a poor man's excuse of trying to say, okay, well, we don't want to play anymore. Let's just try and get this done and over with as quickly as possible. I'm someone who wants to see the point system change. I think it should be 3-2-1. I think it's stupid that we actually reward teams for losing in overtime. Or just in general, I don't think if you lose that you should be given a point whatsoever. And a good example of that would be, you look at the Washington Capitals. I don't think we should be rewarding teams for losing. I think it's just a poor way of doing it. And if you want to do it, then you need to reward the teams that win a little bit more because they had to work extra hard to get that. But I'm also someone who wants to see 3-on-3 extended. If you didn't change the point system, I would like to see 3-on-3 extended to 10 minutes. But at the same fashion, you got to implement something like this, I believe. I don't like the way that teams just puck hog. But I agree with you. I think overtime right now is currently super exciting. Yeah, your BPM definitely goes up to 150 beats per minute, pretty much. Can it get better? I think it can get better. How much better? Well, we know it's the NHL. They don't really like to implement fun things very quickly. So I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, but I think the KHL is a good place to guinea pig test it out. So,
all right, I'm still waiting for this to do that Sergei Fedorov move where they pull the goalie and run it with 4 in overtime. That hasn't caught on here yet.
Well, no, that happened in the NHL. It happened. I can't remember what 2 teams, but the issue with that is that if you get scored on, then you don't get that point.
Yeah, I think it was Nashville that did it.
Yes, I think it was Nashville. It was like Nashville or Minnesota. I think it was one of those 2. Yeah, I think you're right. So, yeah, that's my thought on it. So, yeah, I think that the NHL could improve 3-on-3. I don't like shootouts. I think it's just a poor excuse of saying, let's just get the fuck out of here as quickly as possible. I just think it takes less skill.
I hate the shootout. The shootout could go on for 10. I think the shootouts that I've seen, they've gone on for longer than the 5 rounds. So it's just like, I don't know. I feel like the overtime is a better route for us to finish it than the shootout.
Yeah.
The shootouts are fun. Don't get me wrong. I like the shootouts, but it's just like, okay, now we're on like round 7. It's like, okay, now I'm ready to go. Somebody score.
Shootouts are cool. I'm not going to sit here and say that they're not cool, but they're not my favorite. But I will say they just have too many rules on shootouts too. If they could change, like you can't do no spinoramas, you can't do this, you can't do that. Then if someone starts back skating somehow because they waited too long to shoot the puck and then they count it, it's like, oh, no, that shouldn't count. Like too many rules, too many like stupid stuff. I don't know. It needs to be more simple. Just make it fun. Make hockey fun again, guys.
Yeah.
Gary Bettman, please. Nick. That's it. That's all we got today. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks for hopping on once again. I definitely appreciate it. Final thoughts, lay down the groundwork once again for the viewers, watchers, listeners, and final thoughts. Lay it down, buddy.
Thanks for having us on. Next time we are on, it'll be me and Brandon and possibly Travis. So Hockeytown West, you can follow me at GR Hockey Guy. We are doing the summer. It's just been interviews. So we do actually have a giveaway going on too, now that you remind me.
That's right. Whoops.
Started today. Those crazy, amazing, beautiful flying toaster jerseys. We have 1 to give away. We are trying to kick off the summer, not kick off the summer, but we're trying to keep the summer going. And you just go over, subscribe to our YouTube page, and screenshot it, share it with a friend, tweet it with a friend. I don't know. The rules are on the page. You can find us at Hockeytown West Pod there, and tune in. We've got some we actually have a couple cool interviews coming up, and some cool ones we've done in the past. So that's it from me.
Sweet. Yeah, no, thanks for hopping on once again. I know it was kind of last minute. I definitely appreciate it. You can send the bill to the host that didn't make it today. So
we'll do. If I was unprepared, I apologize.
Just say all you want as a hat, and they'll scrounge up some change for everybody to ship you one over. But once again, congratulations to the winners of the hat giveaway, Randy, Drew, and Spencer. Please go on Twitter and send me a direct message to our Twitter page at Hockeytown Rundown. I believe that's it's somewhere up there on the top of this video that you guys are watching. But my final thoughts are, let's go Red Wings, let's go Grand Rapids, let's go Toledo. There's still a lot of moves to be done. Moritz Seider, Lucas Raymond, Berggren still need to be signed. It's the off season is slowly closing in the training camp. Preseason is fastly approaching, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a bumpy, but it's gonna be a wild, fun ride. So I hope you guys are excited. We got a lot going on too, and so with that, we're gonna go ahead and sign off. And from here, we'll see y'all on the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.